There is a lot going on in the world right now, and seeds being readily available for purchase in the next seasons may become an issue. We don't know yet, but I thought with our garden winding down now and me getting ready to save some seeds, that you might also want to learn some things about seed saving. It's a little bit more complicated than you might imagine. But today we're going to talk about some considerations you need to have when you're planning your garden if you're going to do seed saving, a little bit about different methods you might use for different types of plants, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to harvest and save some of the seeds from our garden this year. Thank God for coffee. Welcome back to our channel if you're already a subscriber, and if you're new here, we are really glad that you're clicking into our video today. Dan and I are trying to become as self-sufficient as possible before we retire, so if becoming more self-sufficient is something that might interest you, please consider subscribing. And if you get any value out of this video today, please also consider liking and commenting on our video. It really does help us with YouTube. Seed saving is another way that you can be more self-sufficient, and it doesn't take a huge amount of time. But you do need to be armed with a little bit of knowledge if you're going to do seed saving properly. So this will be kind of a beginner seed saving video so that you can understand what you need to do in planning in order to be able to save some seeds properly. The first thing you need to be aware of before you even put your plants in the ground in the spring is that some plants will cross-pollinate, not just with other plants of the same variety, but different varieties, and some plants will actually cross-pollinate with other things in the same family. So for example, broccoli can cross-pollinate with other things in the same family, like cauliflower, cabbage, kohlrabi, Brussels sprouts. They can cross-pollinate. Now, why is that an issue? Well, if you save seeds from something that's been cross-pollinated, then when you go to plant that seed again, you are not guaranteed that you're going to get the same thing as when you harvested your fruit previously. So if you don't want some kind of quirky mix, and let's say you want to keep you've got a favorite pickling cucumber and you want to keep that same variety going with the same kind of fruit from year to year, you need to plant only that variety in that area. Now, there are different guides that you can use that will tell you how many, if you want to plant a different variety also, how many feet away do you need to plant that to help prevent cross-pollination. So you need to do a little bit of research on what can cross-pollinate. Another thing that can affect your seed saving is that you need to make sure you choose the right kinds of seeds. Now, if you have hybrid seeds and you save some seeds from those, then you may or may not get the same type of fruit the next year. So hybrids aren't necessarily a good choice for seed saving. Self-pollinating plants are good choices for seed saving. So things like tomatoes, peppers, beans, those are good choices for seed saving because they pollinate themselves. Now, cross-pollinated plants are more difficult to save seeds from and to keep a line pure. So things like corn and different plants that vine are harder to keep the strain pure. So keep that in mind as well. Your best choice for seed saving in many cases is an open pollinated variety of seed. Your heirloom type seeds are ones that are open pollinated type seeds. These types of open pollinated seeds, even if they cross pollinate with another plant, generally those seeds will continue to produce the same or very similar to the parent plant. So your heirloom open pollinated varieties are really your best for seed saving. So arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge, do some research to make sure that you're doing what you need to do and that things are far enough apart and you're selecting the right kind of seeds in order to have a successful seed saving venture. Now there are different ways or different things you need to look for when something is ready for you to save seeds from. So for example, if you pick a cucumber to eat when it's green and soft, you're not going to get good seeds from that to seed save. With something like cucumbers, you need to let the fruit ripen on the vine. Now here is a cucumber that I've let ripen on the vine. You see that it's turned orange and then also brown. It's got a super thick skin on it now. This is a good fruit to do some seed saving with. As far as something like tomatoes, I know some people like to pick their tomatoes when they still have a little green on them, but if you're going to do seed saving, you need to let it ripen on the vine. You need to choose fruits from healthy plants, and the fruit that you save the seed from should be one that you want to promote the quality of. So if you have a nice, big, round, red tomato, you're going to do better seed saving from that than you would be from some sort of oddly shaped, misshapen tomato that might be ripe, but you don't want to promote those qualities in future plants. And I do want to give another little plug for survival garden seeds. You guys, this is something that I don't see on other seed packets. Survival garden seeds actually has a section at the bottom of every seed packet that tells you how to save the seeds. Really important because there's so many different ways and so many different things you need to look for with different plants in order to save the seeds. This is a butternut squash seed packet, and you guys can get 10% off of any of the survival garden seed kits on survivalgardenseeds.com. If you use the link below in the description, you will get 10% off with code OurSufficientLife. And honestly, I've talked about this before, but I really believe it about these seeds. There are more seeds in a packet than you can buy at your regular big box stores. They're also, if you buy them in the kits, they're also about 99 cents a package. And you really can't beat that price. And these are heirloom open pollinated varieties that you can save seeds from. So go check them out at the link below. So you'll also want to know the signs for when your fruit is ready to save seeds from. Since this is a beginner type video, one of the easiest things to save seeds from is green beans. The green beans you will let dry on the vine, and when you hear seeds rattling, then you're ready to save the seed, and literally all you do is split it open and save the seeds. And in the bottom of this bag here, you can see that some have already fallen out of the pod and they're hard and ready to go for seed saving. Now what we're going to do is we're going to save some seeds from the cucumber that I showed you earlier. It was a really good pickling cucumber. So I want to go ahead and save seeds from it. I love to save seeds with these paper plates because your thicker paper plates usually have some kind of wax coating on them that helps the seeds not to stick. But we also have a method that we're going to use with this that'll help to get some of that gooey gunk off the seeds. But let's just cut into this. Okay, so here now we have the seeds. And this is just a grapefruit spoon that I use that has a little bit of a serrated edge on it. Just makes it easier to get the seeds out. So what we're going to do is just take our grapefruit spoon and get all these seeds out. Dig into the flesh. If I were to eat this cucumber, it would be bitter because it's been on the vine so long. Okay, so we've got the seeds out there, and what you notice is it's pretty gooey. It is pretty gooey, and the seeds almost have like a slimy coating on them. So that's where a jar of water comes in. So what we're going to do is just put these seeds into this jar of water. One thing you notice is that some of the seeds fall to the bottom of the jar and some do not. You want to try to remove some of the fleshy parts that came out when we scraped. Now what's going to happen here is I'm going to let these sit in this jar for a couple of days. And you can see here in my example of some butternut squash seeds that I saved, that after a couple of days they will all be at the bottom. What happens during that couple of days is that a fermentation process will begin, and the fermentation process will release all that gooey stuff from around the seeds, and the seeds will be falling to the bottom. So then you will be able to strain off all the gooey stuff and get your seeds ready to dry. Now you want to make sure that you don't leave your seeds soaking in this and fermenting for more than 2 to 3 days, because you do not want any rot to occur. You just want the stuff off the seeds. So no more than 2 to 3 days in the water. So we will let this sit for a couple of days, and then we'll come back and retrieve the seeds. Now the seeds we are going to put on a paper plate that has kind of a waxy coating, and all I did was take a marker and label what it was, because if I have more than one plate, I want to remember what they are. So I just marked on there. Once we get the seeds on there, we're going to give them a really good amount of dry time. They need to be completely dry before you go ahead and put them into storage. So you're going to let them sit for a couple of weeks. After a couple of weeks, you can see here that my butternut squash seeds that I did save a couple of weeks ago are now completely dry, and they released easily because of the wax coating on the paper plate. So now we're going to go ahead and save them. One of the things that I bought online that I'm really excited about, and you know, it doesn't take much sometimes to get me excited about something, but I was able to purchase these envelopes online that have a little gummy spot here, but they're just the right size for seed saving. And then I also bought this stamp online, which simply says heirloom seeds, and then it gives you a space for plant type, date harvested, and whose garden it was from. This would be good for sharing or for just keeping for myself. So I will link to anything that I'm talking about in the description, so that if you want some of this stuff, you can go get it. But this and an ink pad is really going to be great. So now I'm going to write on here all of the information. Then I'm just going to, and if you wanted to, you could make different quantities in different packages, like you could put 20 seeds per packet, or however you want to do it. But we're just going to put them all in one bag. And now this is all ready to go to be stored. You want to store your seeds in a cool, dry location. Moisture is going to be your enemy. In fact, some people will take their seeds that they've saved and they will vacuum seal them with their food saver into a bag to keep moisture out. But what you need to do is make sure that they are dry before you do something like that. If they're not dry, then you're just going to end up with moldy seeds. So this is the way you would store them. Cool, dry location. Now, it's not just food that you can save seeds from. What about your pollinators? You need to make sure that you have enough nice flowers and things around your garden or in your garden area to attract those bees and those other pollinators. So you can save seeds from year to year from your flowers too. All you need to do for flowers is to make sure that select dried flowers. Wait till very late in the season. Get your dried flowers. If you peel off the outside pod, you have a whole bunch of seeds in there. Lots and lots of marigold seeds right there that are going to be great for my seed saving. This time, since I got colored envelopes, I'm going to use purple for flowers. So, just going to drop some in there. And since it's already completely dry, I don't need to worry about anything else. If I get some little pieces of the flower or leaves or petals or what in there, it doesn't matter to me. But you can go through and pick all that out if you want to. So make sure that you are saving seeds not just to grow for food, but also for your pollinators. And I want to give a shout out to my friend Vanessa, who gave me a whole bunch of her burgundy red zinnia seeds that I'm going to plant next year down near the garden. So shout out to Vanessa. Thank you very, very much. Now, coming up on our channel, you're going to be seeing some videos on how we're preparing our gardens for winter, what we're doing to do some pre-fertilizing, and how we're using some cardboard. Thank you for being here today. We certainly hope you're having a great week, and we'll see you next time.